nochmal komplett im Messaging, low-hanging fruits aus deiner Inbox einfach schon mal dich da... Analyst.
Impuestos, lo que es el teléfono, lo que es de seguro.
Happy Wednesday, my friends. Checking in from Aarau, working from home as per usual. Not feeling 100%. My nose is covered. Throat is a little bit itchy, but it's not too bad. And I think it's not going to get worse from here. But we definitely are going to be drinking a lot of tea. Got some electrolytes here too. And the first coffee of the day. I'm in the process of working through Slack and emails. Right now, there's a lot of contract updates, both with clients and with team members. So right now, I'm briefing Luca on a contract negotiation with a team member. Also gonna get back to a couple of clients who want to check in about 2026 plans. We also have one client that we are offboarding who wants to take the personal branding and content side of things in-house. So navigating those end of year changes with, in 1 hour, heading to Baselland to meet up with Jörg, leuppi, longtime client and partner. And today we're gonna get lunch and film some videos with him. So far we've been mostly just producing text content for him, and I think it could be awesome to also share some of his expertise in video, with video. And maybe we'll have some interesting conversations that we can also share in our vlog or whatever else, case study video, who knows. And then I have calls in the afternoon again, but maybe we'll just do them here. And I'm also kicking things off with a new coach. Brought on a new CEO coach to help me level up and in turn help the company level up. His name is Ryan Begelman, and I was introduced to him by my former teammate Niels Liedlich, who's now crushing it with his newsletter agency. But fun fact, was the first ever full-time notus employee. So that should be good. Otherwise, we're just gonna keep working. It's beginning of December. Year is coming to a closing soon, so really just focused on keeping the things that are running clean, making space in the calendar. We got the leadership offsite coming up this weekend in Andermatt. It's going to be very light and playful, you could say. And then next week we have the company offsite. Full schedule till Christmas, one piece at a time, one day at a time. And I'm looking forward because already now the gears are shifting towards also, 2026 strategy. Much to think about, much to reflect on. Get ready for another awesome year. 1 hour left till we have to leave, so I better use the time to keep on working.
Time for a little sales update, right? The last time we saw each other was when I was in Berlin. When was it? August, September?
Rome, I think Rome.
Rome. Interesting. Okay, yeah. Okay. Yeah, Rome was amazing. It was great to see the team, right? We never met Edda in person, so that was great. We had really cool moments together as a team with our offsite. Right now, feel as sharp as never before, as energetic as never before. And the last 1.5 to now 2 weeks since I'm back in office were very fruitful too. Already closed 5 new deals, really cool deals too, like amazing founders. So a lot of sales momentum again. And now with the end of the year, I guess it's also time for a little update about what happened over the course of the year in the sales department, which is still just me. It's a one-person show. Right now I have support from our GTM team who are taking care of all the appointment setting, which is amazing. That was something that I have done for a year or even longer. I was in Marvin's DMs and also taking care of all the lead gen. That's something that I now finally gave up to some of our team members, which is amazing. So if you don't know, our main approach on how we generate leads is signal based, which means we are utilizing organic content on LinkedIn to generate relevant signals from our ICP. And a signal for us in this day and age on LinkedIn could be any form of interaction with Marvin's profile, our company profile, or our content in general. So this could be a like, a comment, a connection request, a follower, a profile viewer. All of these are signals that we can now track, scrape, and populate in a filtered view. And with that, we kind of have like a CRM of all the people who engage with our content, and then we can just pick and choose who we want to engage with in the DMs and start a casual convo with. And then from there, we book the demo with me, and then we have our regular sales process. And yeah, I mean, in terms of numbers and metrics, currently we're booking around 60 meetings per month. October, we booked 59 meetings. Now in November, we booked 58 meetings, 50 to 60 meetings per month that come from our signal-based sales setup and also inbound leads. So I would say right now it's probably a 50-50, like around 30 inbound leads that just book themselves in through our website, and then like 30 leads that come through our appointment setters. And that's very consistent. I think there was not even 1 month where we didn't hit that benchmark of around 60 meetings, which is, for me personally, that's like 20 meetings per week, which is quite easy to sustain and also enough for us with the quality of the leads to close the deals that we want to close. So this year, on average, the goal from Luca that he calculated was that he wants me to close 4 to 5 new deals. And I mean, on average, that's what we also accomplished. I think there was not even 1 month where we didn't accomplish our sales KPIs. So when it comes to the numbers and all the KPI set of things, we're definitely on track and everything is going really fine. That's like a regular day. Take a look at my calendar. Now I got 1 call at 11, and then from 1, that's one discovery call, another discovery, another discovery, another discovery, and another discovery. So 5 discovery calls lined up back to back, and 1 follow-up call earlier now in 30 minutes. And then tomorrow is pretty much the same. Our agency service, our done-for-you flagship white glove service, but then also in the next year we're planning to expand more in a tech direction, right? So yeah, that's something that Max can probably share a little bit more in depth, but he's taking care of the product itself and shifted in a more technical direction from just copywriting and being head of content to actually building a end-to-end closed loop system on how we can generate new ideas, create the best possible content that is engaging and also valuable for your ICP in this case, and then gathering all this information to book new meetings, and again, taking that feedback, that market feedback, all this data to iterate on new possible ideas that could resonate with your ideal customer profile. These are the things that inspire me and that I'm excited about for the coming year. So the tech progress, the agency progress that we're doing, and then also more in-person activations and private events, and hopefully a physical base here in the heart of Switzerland, in Zurich. A lot of exciting things happening. Yeah, I would say that's my little update, guys.
I gotta swim, see I gotta catch, each I gotta change the race, crowd to fully, shut it out.
Alright, my friends, we are heading to the Kantonsspital Baselland to meet up with Jörg Leuppi, who we've been working with ever since 2022. So the first year I relaunched Notus, he became a client and we've been working with him ever since. And it's so much fun to work with him because he has such deep expertise. You know, he's a doctor, he's the chief medical doctor of the Kantonsspital Baselland. He's also very engaged and has been engaged in other initiatives such as the Lung League, to, you know, help with cancer, like fighting cancer and different causes. I learned a lot from him, you know, throughout the process about the medical system and how other countries such as Denmark are innovating in the field of just, you know, medicine and hospitals. And we've been helping him with LinkedIn. Oh, fuck, I don't know the code. So it's been an awesome collab and we're still working together. And today we want to just get more video content produced and meet up with him in person. It's something that I try to do as much as possible. And I also encourage the rest of the leadership team, the rest of the team to do as well, is to meet our clients in person. Hallo, was ist der Code für Garage? But yeah, so we try to meet up with clients regularly in person. It helps build trust, nurture relationship, talk about new opportunities, and produce content while at it. So it's a win-win-win. How we found him as a client is through an introduction of my friend Daniel Heller, who is the director, the president of Kantonsspital Baden, Spital Barmelweit, and also he used to be board member and partner. I don't know if he still is. I think he still is at Farner, which is one of the biggest agencies and media corporations in Switzerland. And he was the dad of a guy that went to school with me. And one day I met up for lunch with the guy from school, my friend from school, and his dad. And funny enough, I stayed in touch with his dad thereafter, and we met up regularly. And he kind of mentored me and supported me along the way from the first days of my freelance career. And I, in turn, helped him for free with his LinkedIn stuff occasionally. Throughout those years, that one person has brought me, I don't know, 2-3 clients. One of them, Jörg. Another one was Patrick Fafken, I think, who got introduced to me too. And so it's just, you know, that spider web of building relationships over time and not expecting anything in return. But if you give it enough time and you keep on providing value and maintaining these relationships, then, you know, things do emerge. And I have a lot of people in my life, like Daniel, who I've been, you know, good friends with, trying to collaborate with, help each other out, who are creating unexpected opportunities. One day you wake up to an email with an introduction. And all of that happening while also, of course, building relationships at scale through my personal brand. And that's really how I've been, you know, building a network and making a name for myself and bringing clients into the agency. We are driving through Staffelegg. Max Radman just sent me a WhatsApp message with a Spotify link telling me that that is his favorite song at the moment. So let's listen to his favorite song, the favorite song of Max Radman.
Hola, me llamo Maria, and I am your daily Spanish instructor. Today,
Not a coincidence that he's into the Latina female voice at the moment. Alright, my friends, we just made it to Kantonsspital, Baselland to visit our longtime friend and partner and client, Jörg Leuppi, who's the chief medical officer here. And we're going to catch up on how things are going, record some videos about the future of healthcare and the industry here in Switzerland. Have some lunch, hopefully, too. Check in on the collab and take it from there. Let's get it. Wie lange arbeitest du denn eigentlich schon beim Kantonsspital Baselland?
Das wird in 2 Monaten 13 Jahre sein.
13 Jahre.
13 Jahre.
Und du kommst auch aus Basel ursprünglich?
Ich bin in Basel geboren, Basel aufgewachsen. Dann war ich 10 Jahre auf den Lehr- und Wanderjahren und lebe jetzt schon wieder, gerade überlegen, über 25 Jahre in Baselland.
Herrlich. Ich kenne es noch aus den Fußballzeiten, aber umso schöner durch dich auch immer einen Grund zu haben, öfters herzukommen. Und wo sind wir jetzt gerade? Also wir kommen aus dem Notfallgebäude, war das? Oder?
Das war die Kantine, wo sie rausgekommen sind. Und die, eigentlich ist es ein Verwaltungsgebäude jetzt noch, wo wir rausspazieren. Wir gehen rüber in die ehemalige Direktion.
Sehr schön. Die Sonne spielt auch mit. Wir kriegen noch Sonnenstrahlen ab. Wie wichtig ist die Sonne für ein gesundes Leben?
Ich glaube, es hilft vor allem, dass es einem gut geht, dass man sich gut fühlt. Das hilft sicher der Psyche sehr. Auf der anderen Seite um die Vitamin D-Produktion sind wir auch froh. Deshalb ist die Sonne ein wichtiges Element.
Und Videos zu schießen wie ein Influencer. Dein Take zu, wo wir gerade stehen in der Gesundheitsbranche in der Schweiz, ist jetzt Ende 2025. Ich glaube, ich habe dir eine ähnliche Frage vor 2 Jahren schon mal im gleichen Büro gestellt. Aber wie geht es der Schweiz im Vergleich vielleicht zum internationalen Wettbewerb, Markt? Wo siehst du die größten Probleme, die größten Möglichkeiten? Was ist dein Sentiment?
Ich glaube, der Schweiz geht es immer noch gut. Aber wir geben viel zu viel Geld auch aus dafür. Also es ist eine teure Medizin. Und wir scheinen sie uns noch leisten zu können. Und wo haben wir uns entwickelt? Ich sehe noch keine großen Entwicklungsschritte, außer dass die Tarife nicht mehr stimmen. Die Kosten es ist alles teurer geworden. Wenn wir einkaufen, ist alles teurer als vor 2-3 Jahren. Und die Tarife bleiben gleich. Das heißt, in einem Spital wird ja auch die Milch, das Brot, alles wird auch teurer. Wenn man das aber nicht weitergeben kann, also wenn quasi die Tarife dann gleich bleiben, dann geht irgendwann das Geld aus. Also eine Teuerung, an der man die Einnahmen nicht anpassen kann, das geht nicht auf. Und das ist, glaube ich, der Hauptgrund. Ich meine, die Löhne sind angestiegen, die Fixkosten sind angestiegen, die Energiepreise sind angestiegen, die Lebensmittel, alles ist teurer geworden, die Tarife kann man nicht weitergeben. Die Preise kann man nicht weitergeben, was dazu führt, dass dann diese Spitäler in Not kommen. Deshalb haben wir all diese Geschichten von Spitälern, die wirklich strugglen, die jetzt Unterstützung brauchen. Und von dem her, ich glaube, das haben wir schon davon gesprochen vor 3 Jahren, das hat sich jetzt einfach, ist jetzt einfach eskaliert, ist einfach schlimmer geworden. Was immer noch, man sieht vielleicht eine erste Bewegung, dass man zusammen schaffen will. Also man sieht zum Beispiel im Bernbereich, Oberaargau, Emmental, da gibt es jetzt Initiativen, dass man zusammenarbeitet. Die Innerschweiz, glaube ich, mit dem Lux und mit den Nied- und Obwaldner Spitälern, dort entstehen Gruppen, wo, glaube ich, ganz gut miteinander zusammenarbeiten, wo man sich überlegt, ach, wer was wo macht. Also da beginnt langsam etwas. Aber die große Planung sehe ich eigentlich noch in keinem Kanton. Und gewisse Kantone sind da beweglicher, machen sich Gedanken, und dann gibt es Kantone, da habe ich den Eindruck, da passiert gar nichts, da lässt man einfach das Ganze vor sich hinlaufen. Und schlussendlich wäre es ja toll, man würde sich überlegen, was braucht man für eine Versorgung, also wo soll in der Gesundheitsregion das Zentrumsspital sein, welche kleineren Spitäler sollen Zulieferanten sein für die komplexen Sachen. Aber ich denke, eine banale, in Anführungszeichen, Lungenentzündung, die soll man doch wohnortnah behandeln können. Da braucht es vielleicht nicht alle 5 Kilometer ein Spital, aber es braucht wohnortnah eine Versorgung. Das kann zum Teil ein ambulantes Setting sein, rein eine große Praxis, ein Gesundheitszentrum. Bis zu einem gewissen Grad braucht es eine stationäre Versorgung für die Behandlungen, die man eben auch in kleinen Häusern machen kann. Und das ist relativ viel. Und dann braucht es ein Zentrumsspital, das da dann wieder ein großes Einzugsgebiet haben soll, damit die auch genügend Fälle haben und sich nicht mit den einfachen Sachen beschäftigen sollen. Das, glaube ich, muss von innen kommen. Das müssen die einzelnen Häuser von sich aus entwickeln. Das ist der eine Weg. Oder man stülpt es von oben herab, wie das Dänemark macht. Ja. Aber da ist die Schweiz nicht dafür gebaut. Also das Gesundheitswesen ist eine kantonale Aufgabe, und dann müssen die Kantone sich halt bewegen. Das wird nie vom Bund, oder vorerst sicher nicht vom Bund, diktiert werden.
Das heißt, du siehst eigentlich die große Challenge in der Gesundheitsbranche gerade, dass eben durch die Inflation alles teurer wird, entsprechend auch die Spitäler mit höheren Kosten konfrontiert sind. Aber wenn du von den Tarifen sprichst, eben was sie dann der Krankenkasse oder direkt dem Patienten in Rechnung stellen, das steigt nicht, und entsprechend geht die Rechnung nicht mehr auf.
Genau. Langsam beginnt es, jetzt verhandelt man die Tarife neu, jetzt kommen ein gewisses Entgegenkommen, dass die Tarife vielleicht dann langsam ansteigen. Aber wenn man will, dass nur Spitäler oder Gesundheitszentren selbsttragend sind und auch die Neuinvestitionen selber tragen sollen, dann müssen sie Geld verdienen. Weil entweder erlaubt man den Gesundheitszentren, Spitälern effektiv auch etwas Geld zu verdienen, damit sie investieren können, oder man sagt, okay, sie sollen einfach ihre Kosten decken können, aber dann braucht es externes Geld für die Investitionen. Also jemand muss das einfach finanzieren. Die Krankenkassen geben ja die Teuerung weiter. Die Tage, die leiden ja nicht. Die können ja offenbar jedes Jahr kommt es zu einem Krankenkassenanstieg. Also wenn die ihre Personalkosten bauen nicht das Personal ab, sondern sie können ja die Lohnkosten weitergeben, die Tarife steigen an, aber die werden nicht zwingend an die die gesundheitsversorgenden Institutionen weitergegeben.
Hammer. Jörg, es war mir wie immer ein Vergnügen.
Gleichfalls, alles
Danke
Gute.
für die Gastfreundschaft.
Mach's gut.
Danke für dein
Tschüss.
Vertrauen weiterhin. All my friends, Part of living the content life means that you wrap up a client meeting with some specialty coffee. So we pulled up Google Maps and found some specialty coffee at the train station here in baselland. Alright, my friends, one sip, everybody knows the rules. Here at Goose Coffee in Liestal, coming out of a meeting with a chief medical officer doctor from the kantonsspital baselland. And now we're wrapping things up with a little flat white. That's how I do it. I start my days with black coffee. When I go to a cafe, I like myself a good filter, sometimes an Americano. But then my last coffee of the day in the afternoon, I like it as a little treat. So I tend to go for a flat white. And that's what we have here. I would say foam game is mediocre. Service was very friendly, very kind, very sweet. So I hope it tastes good. What was interesting to see is that they have an automatic coffee machine. Haven't seen that at many specialty coffee places. But before this gets cold, let's have a sip. One sip, everybody knows the rules. Nice and hot. Bit nutty, bit bitter, not too sweet, not too fruity, quite simple and honest, right? I don't love the foam, I like the heat. They've been sweet. 6.8. You can only connect the dots looking backwards. Very corny quote, but it's been so fucking true over the past few years. Because also looking back, you can always come up with explanations and draw the connections. And so you hire someone, you think this is going to be the long-term play, yada yada, as we did with someone on the team this year. And then because of that person, another person joins who turns out to be an absolute superstar. And then the original person actually leaves the company. But hadn't we hired that person, we wouldn't have gotten the other person. And so it's fun to see how things develop and how one thing leads to another and how often you don't foresee what the ultimate outcome of your actions actually are. But I think you getting into the coffee business, Tim, that's a divine intervention. Yeah, guys, so this coffee review we just did, Tim and I reflected on it further, and this is the type of coffee that just has no personality at all. Like you sip it,
nothing happens.
Nothing happens. Some bitterness, some milkiness. So if I gave a score now, it would be worse, but we don't change the scores. So that was our visit. Meet up, I would say, was a success. And the meeting itself went great too. I actually felt some resistance waking up with a cold, driving to Basel and then back, for a 70-minute meeting. But these in-person meetings, especially when you're like in consulting or as an agency, or if you're enterprise sales in general, no matter if it's software or services that you're selling, these in-person meetups are invaluable. They are so valuable that the Salesforce CEO and founder, Mark Benioff, I just remember a soundbite where he talks about how his main job as the CEO and chief visionary of Salesforce, aside from setting the pace and having a clear vision, is to fly around the world and meet with their most important customers. And I can attest to the value of meeting your customers or potential customers and building relationships, not just digitally, but then doing it offline as well. And I think it's a competitive advantage if you can do it. We are increasingly entering a time of content abundance, but with that, even more so, a craving for authenticity and genuine connections. And I feel like that also has its effect on businesses who decide who they want to hire, which vendors they want to partner with. And the product itself, of course, the track record and the social proof are the prerequisites to even being an option in the first place. But I think from there, it's also a matter of who do you want to work with? Who do you align with value-wise? Who do you enjoy spending time with? And whose business do you want to support and grow with? And we've been doing a good job at creating a brand for ourselves digitally on LinkedIn, on YouTube, and all these channels. But since day one, I've always made an effort to visit clients or potential clients in person whenever I get the opportunity. I wrote about this on LinkedIn the other day, and I'm going to use this maybe as a guide for me to share my thoughts. But I run a fully remote agency with Notus. We're a personal branding service provider, turning into more of an ecosystem with different solutions and products and services. But at the core, we are a personal branding partner to amazing founders and executives. And when a client or partner wants to meet up face to face, you best believe I book a flight ticket or I go hop on a train to meet that person. I have a simple approach to these meetings. And I've been kind of doing this thing for the past 4 years, ever since I started Notus. And it stems from the fact that we are, as I said, remote. So we never had an office, we never had a physical place where we could meet clients in person. And so from the get-go, I made an effort to visit clients wherever they're at to have that face-to-face time. And I'm naturally a bit of a people person who runs a personal branding agency. So meeting people in person, it was clear that this would be a key piece that would help us get more leverage and create more momentum for ourselves and also have more fun in working with our clients. And so these meetings, especially in person, usually consist of 4 pillars, 4 components. The first piece to a good in-person client meeting is a mini strategy review. So as an agency provider, we create quarterly strategy reviews for our clients where we reflect on the quantitative metrics of the quarter. We analyze the best performing posts, content, all the results, all the metrics. We also gather all the qualitative insights that the client shares with us, self-reported attribution from their website forms. Whatever we can accumulate to learn from, we do. We present it as a report, and then we have a quarterly strategy review to check in on how these things are going and what we can improve moving forward. And so in these in-person meetings, I usually start with just checking in on how things are going. Having read through the report prior to the meeting, I know where we're at, even if I'm not involved in the day-to-day of the project itself. And I just make sure I collect all the feedback. Maybe I identify upsell opportunities or ways where we can provide more value, or maybe I feel like we need to give a discount or change something. Whatever it is, it's a great opportunity to talk strategy with the clients who haven't talked to me in a while directly. But so that's the first part, the mini strategy review. Then the second part to a good in-person meeting is to create content. So photo shoots and video recordings are key to a good client meeting. Especially for LinkedIn, getting good visuals when you're working with clients is always a big challenge. They hate to take selfies more often than not, and it's just a bit of a pain for everyone involved. So these in-person meetings are a chance for us to just build up a backlog of images in different scenarios and even video snippets, because as we did today, we have a content call, which is the core service that we provide to our clients, is that we conduct a content call. It's an interview between the content strategist and the personal branding client. We ask questions in that interview, we record the whole thing, and we then turn the transcript and the recording into LinkedIn posts and newsletters and whatever else comes from that, maybe even YouTube scripts. And so what we did today, as an example, is that I interviewed Jörg for about 30 minutes, and usually we would do this in a virtual setting using Riverside. That's our go-to virtual recording studio. But instead, we took this camera and Tim just filmed us while having a conversation. And so it was a natural convo. I was asking questions related to his industry that I thought could turn into interesting posts. And on the one hand, the transcript of that recording could become the source for our ghostwriting team to then turn into a good post for Jörg. Or maybe we actually pull nice snippets, 30 seconds to 2 minutes long, that we can turn into a standalone video. So the content creation side of things, image and video, super important. And then the third very important pillar to this is just that you want to have a regular convo with these people too, right? We're humans after all. We enjoy connecting with good people, and if you're paying someone money to help you with something as intimate as your personal brand and your reputation, then you might as well be friends, right? You might as well know each other and maybe also connect through other things than just business. And so these meetings are some of the few chances I have to just jam with these people and catch up on how things are going. Whether it's entrepreneurial challenges, hobbies. With Jörg, we talked about coffee today and where he gets his coffee beans, his recent travels, and his outlook for, the last few years of his career, since he's an absolute OG. Whatever it is, usually it's hard to fit these types of conversations and topics into a well-structured 30-minute call that you have scheduled in your calendar. And so having enough time in person is a great opportunity to just chat. And then the fourth thing is just that on top of this, surprising things can happen, right? We've had client visits where all of a sudden we were filming and then they started just giving us a shout out and it turned into a case study interview and like a testimonial video. Yes, you can plan that as well, and with some clients we also agreed on doing it in the first place, but sometimes, it's too early or you're not sure if it's the right time, but then they just come up and show a bunch of love. Or on Monday with Avenir Swiss, all of a sudden we get introduced to 2 potential clients just because they are feeling us. We're meeting in person, and then another person joins the conversation and says, yeah, by the way, these are LinkedIn pros, do you need help? And he's like, yeah, actually, we're rolling out a huge initiative to 2,000 people. Maybe we should talk. Boom, exchange WhatsApp, new sales opportunity. Wouldn't have gotten that if I didn't meet them in person. And last summer, I remember I was visiting with a potential client, not even an existing client, a potential client in Switzerland, because I thought they were a cool company, they were a great fit, and I thought even if they don't become a client, I might as well just, help them out and build a relationship with them and become friends and whatever, right? And so I went and I visited them, and I was pitching against a competitor of ours who on paper was more clearly positioned in terms of the niche towards that client, but he wasn't able to visit him in person. I was. And so we had that conversation in person. I walked him through the strategy, we brainstormed some ideas, and eventually he decided to go with us versus the competitor. Now, would we have won him over if I didn't meet in person? I don't know, but I do think it had a very positive effect on things. And I do think it's not a coincidence that Mark Benioff spent so much time visiting clients, and especially in enterprise sales, it's key. Sales cycles are super long. In our case, we have the luxury of being remote, and also our sales process runs fully remotely. But we've noticed that client retention, satisfaction, and also just trust in our ability to deliver and letting us do our thing and trusting our expertise, it just increases the more, we deepen the relationship. And how I think about building relationships is almost in like different levels of trust. When you think about LinkedIn as a platform, there's different levels of trust you can build. Or like when it comes to your personal brand, what are we trying to do with our personal brand? We are building trust with people. We are building relationships at scale, right? Because we are living our lives as we always would, but we are applying content leverage to what we are doing, so that not only the person I talk to gets to know me and what I do, but also a lot of other people might get to know me. So I'm going from communicating and building trust and relationships from one-to-one to one-to-many. So from doing it individually to doing it at scale. When it comes to now playing this personal branding game, there's still different levels of trust we can build based on the types of interaction and the types of content and the different senses that are engaged when we are playing this game. And so for me, level 1 is like a LinkedIn text post, right? You see the profile pic, you see the name, and then you see the text post that you can read. That's cool. They read your words, they see what you're up to, they might love the post. And so that for me is level 1 of trust, text post. Level 2 is text plus image, because now you have a text post that you can read, but you also have an image, you have a picture of someone, makes it more tangible, makes him human, gives you a face to remember, creates more familiarity. So for me, text plus image is then level 2. Level 3 on LinkedIn would be text plus video, because once again, you have the text that you can read, but now you also see a video. You hear me talk right now, you look me in the eyes, I look you in the eyes right now, and so I feel more real. I perhaps feel more authentic, or maybe it's the opposite, but I can communicate what I want to communicate and connect with you on a different level if I speak to you directly rather than if I'm just writing to you, right? So for me, text plus video is level 3 of trust. And then level 4, the ultimate level for building trust, is still when you meet someone in person. And so we are trying to accelerate trust with our partners, clients, the entire ecosystem by playing all levels of the trust building game, but by definitely also doubling down on level 4, which is to meet in person, which is what we did today. This picture was taken during our in-person office visit of our client FinPension. And today they published about our collaboration and how important LinkedIn has become for them. And they talk about how with our help they can do this without spending too much time on it and doing it on a high quality standard. And this is a great example of leveraging in person, because we closed the project, so they signed the contract, first invoice paid, whatever. And then before we even kicked off officially, our COO Luca and I stopped by their office, brought a photographer, Luca Meyer from Morphbox, with us, and we gave them a full-on photo shoot which filled our image library for the whole year. We took some video snippets that we are repurposing for LinkedIn. We took pictures with them together, which they've now already published twice, and I also leveraged for my case study post about our collaboration with them. And it was just great because we got lunch, we talked about hobbies, we talked about sports, and I feel like it's just gave us a much stronger foundation for everything else that then came through a remote setting. And the beauty of the leadership team and the team I'm building is that I can now scale in-person connections through other faces and team members. So yesterday, for example, Luca Wetzler, our COO, stopped by the FinPension office alone, while I now am went to Basel to meet with Jörg. And the same thing with Patrick Fafken. Last week we met for dinner. And so our network is getting stronger and stronger. We really built it from the ground up. So I'm trying to systematize and find a way where there's a network effect of, if you join the Notus ecosystem as a client, you inherently make the Notus ecosystem more valuable, because now existing ecosystem members, clients, can now maybe benefit from your expertise or, you know, connect with you, collaborate with you. So that's why we are still hiring an executive assistant right now to help us take admin stuff from our plates, but to also help us coordinate things like these. Right now we're just doing it off the cuff and figuring it out as we go. But with 50 active companies who are under contract and hundreds of people we've helped and we are connected with, I feel like this is one mode for Notus, for myself, as we are entering the next 2 to 3 years, that due to AI acceleration are quite unpredictable, to say the least. Also guys, I appreciate each and every comment that you leave on these videos. We are still a small, if you know, you know type of group here, but I read every comment. We try to detach from external opinions, and the internal why for me is strong enough to document the journey, even if people perceive it differently than I hope they would. But it still feels nice when then people confirm that you're doing the thing you're hoping to do, and you're also inspiring in a way that you're hoping to. So thank you guys and girls.
All right, guys, I think Marvin just went to do a content call with Bari, who is his new content strategist. He actually joined us as a DM setter, so part of the GTM team that we launched a while back. Now he's transitioned into the content strategist role for Marvin, which was my previous position, and he's doing an amazing job. He is a fast learner, and I'm very bullish on him, and that allowed me to focus on other things. And fortunately, those are the things, or the things that I was able to focus on now more, are the things that I'm kind of obsessed about right now, and probably also a while into the future, which is tech and product for everything that we do across all internal processes, operations. And so one of the first things that we actually built, which I can show you guys, is a performance dashboard. Also, is Jax destroying Mia's toy right now? Is this yours, or was this Mia's and you took it from her? Be honest. Huh? Yeah. You can see that it's a simple dashboard, and we can go here and select a client. In this case, we can select Marvin, and we automatically chooses a 30-day period for which to analyze the performance data. And so what it's doing right now is basically pulling together all of the data from the database that we set up that stores all LinkedIn performance data. So that includes impressions, that includes engagement. And we also pull the engagement from interesting people from the target audience that we define from a tool called Teamfluence through the API. So what it essentially allows us to do is to get an overview over how content is performing, and also if content is attracting the right eyeballs, right, from our ideal customer profile. What the purpose here is really just to give content strategists insights on things that they wouldn't otherwise discover if they had just run a normal, like if they just looked at the native LinkedIn analytics. That's the first step, right? Is really just pulling all the data together and using LLMs to detect patterns and then see, okay, is a certain type of post maybe outperforming another post? Is it a certain hook outperforming another? Is a certain topic outperforming another? And we can use that data, that information, to actually come up with better content ideas for the client and deliver better results. In the second step, we actually do want to also use our knowledge on what makes a good post idea and combine that with this performance data to give content strategists automatic content suggestions, right? Content idea suggestions that they can take to the client and into the content call. Yeah, just have them spend less time while getting better quality output. So it's loaded. So looking at the dashboard right here, you can see that the main view is the top performing posts, which can be filtered by different metrics, right? One metric that we calculated is the score, and this is a composite metric that's made up of different LinkedIn native metrics. So you can look here at the score calculation. I won't run you through the exact formula, but basically it weighs different engagement signals differently. We have reactions, right, are weighted 2x, comments are weighted 4x, and shares are weighted 6x based on how hard the signal is to get, right? So, it's easy to like a post. That's why they're not as relevant. Comments are harder to receive because it takes the user more time, and sharing is even harder to get, right? You don't really get a lot of reposts. And so that results in a score that we can now use to compare across clients. And we can also obviously filter the posts by the different normal metrics such as impressions, right, also known as reach. We can also filter by engagement, and we can filter by ICP signals. And so this is what I talked about before, where we can see, how many of the profiles that we actually want to reach, our ideal customer profile, actually interacted with our content. And so we can see here, and this is like one of those insights that's really interesting for me as a content strategist who's managing a client project, is that we can see that by traditional metrics such as impressions, a personal post, like for example, like the birthday post that Marvin posted, did really, really well, right? It got a lot of impressions, got a lot of reactions. So it got good score and also just good impressions and engagement metrics. So it's always in like the top 3 by these metrics. But then if we go to ICP, where we filter, okay, which post has the highest amount of ICP, ideal customer profile interactions, we can actually see that this is a case study with one of our clients. And then we can go here and actually see who interacted with this post. And we can also see what past posts they interacted with, right? So what their engagement history is with our profile. Yeah, this is just one of the features that we've rolled out to help content strategists make better decisions and make more, data-backed decisions. To run you through the rest of the dashboard here, we have some things that are under construction still. We have a topic cluster, which basically clusters the different overarching topics by how well they performed. This is still going to be nuanced a little bit because the topic's a little bit broad, right? Here we have different insights that analyze different patterns and back them up with numbers to see if a certain post under or overperforms the average. And these are still pretty raw, right? And we're just basically looking at the different patterns that are detectable in the text itself, right? So hooks featuring specific dollar amounts, posts structured as a narrative spotlighting a specific team member, and then we can see if they over or underperformed. Now, these are good initial insights, but we're probably going to expand those to look at just different criteria, not only post-specific metrics that are on a copywriting level, but also maybe on a topic level to give broader suggestions on what topics work and which don't. And then we also have the ideas. Now, this is probably the least developed feature. The purpose here is to generate content ideas based on these insights that we got. But as far as I'm concerned, we haven't updated the prompt here yet. So the output that you are going to see is not as good as it should be. So this is a feature that's currently under construction. Overall, that's it. I thought I'd show you guys this, even though this is far from perfect. And this is very much a V1. The rule is if the product doesn't embarrass you when you launch it, it's you launch too late. So that's kind of what we go by. Very excited to further develop this and make sure that content strategists use it in their day-to-day, because that's the biggest learning I've made. If you create a product that no one uses, then you've wasted a lot of time and effort and money, which we don't want to do because we're bootstrapped and we're trying to grow. So that's that. Now, I'll get back to work.
Well, what kind of call do you have?
Right now, I will have a call with Bari where I shadow his content call prep process, right? So our content strategists have content calls with our clients usually every 2 weeks. They obviously prep questions and topics that they want to talk about. And what I want to find out is how they prep, where they get the ideas, how they come up with questions, how many topics they come up with, et cetera. Because what I realized that to build tools and processes and workflows that content strategists will actually use, I first have to understand what their real workflow looks like. And there's nothing better than just sitting there and shadowing them while they're doing it, because you can catch little nuances of just what they're doing, what their actual real workflow looks like, and then can make great learnings from that. And I've had 2 so far, and they were very, very different, which is a great learning in itself. Just knowing that even though we have like a certain way of where we have processes, we have SOPs on how to do your prep, you know, different people with different clients have their own workflow. And my goal is just figuring out, okay, what are the differences, what are the similarities, and what are the actual problem, like what are the problems they need solved, and how can we design a workflow that works for everyone and gets them the best result. Then translate that into tech. So yeah, there's no product without a user, and to build a great product, you just have to understand the user.
Amazing. And where's Bari?
I don't know. 20 push-ups already. We have a rule that every minute you're late, you have to do 10 push-ups. So that is 30 now. And I stick to that rule religiously.
Alright, my friends, I just wrapped up my content call with Bari. We spent 1 hour talking through LinkedIn posts, and today it was twofold. First off, I filled him in on what happened over the past 7 days since we last spoke, which generated 3 new posts that we're going to publish on LinkedIn. So I just told him about my visit to the event of Selim in Honeck that you should have seen by now, then about dinner with Patrick and the collaboration happening there, and then about Avenir Swiss and the book launch and how that all unfolded. So that was the first part where he just lets me catch up on what's been happening, and then he asks follow-up questions to ensure that I share enough substance so that he can then actually turn it into a LinkedIn post draft. And then the second part of the call was topics and questions he had already prepared. So, for example, he asked me to give my take on how the year went by comparing what I shared on LinkedIn 1 year ago as to how the year went and what I wanted 2025 to look like. And then, you know, checking in on, did it actually go that way? And what challenges did you face that you didn't expect? And then with that question, I then go in and I start speaking my truth. I just start sharing. And if he feels like that's enough for a post, then we move on to the next topic. So 1/3 of it was me giving updates. And then the second, or like the last 2/3 were just him asking questions and me responding, and him doubling down and digging deeper when needed. And that's exactly what we do with our clients as well. So that was great. And then I spent the last 15 minutes reviewing the next scripts and content that I need to record for Instagram, which is a channel we still haven't fully cracked yet, but we are experimenting, and I'm feeling the benefits of people who are connecting with me on Instagram versus other platforms. And there's also a lot of overlap between Instagram and YouTube. We are trying to right now repurpose my best performing LinkedIn posts that I published over the past many years now, based on impressions, based on feedback, based on substance. So very subject matter heavy LinkedIn posts, or just interesting stories and takeaways and personal updates. Molly is, you know, researching all of those posts, and he's pulling the ones that he think could be great Instagram scripts. And next week I will record those scripts. I think we have 9 lined up. But as I told Molly, I really gotta use the restroom, and then I have a YouTube vlog to review. I have Q1 Lisbon villa organization. I have a bunch of emails and invoices. And then if I get that done before it's too late, then there's more stuff to be done. So one thing at a time. Are you hiding your phone to make it seem like you're taking a mindful break rather than a real break? I feel I would like to do the same as you right now. Just take a little nap, lay down for a bit.
I'm recharging because I have a 2-hour call in 25 minutes.
2 hour? Oh, sick. That's actually nice, because then I have a lot of work still to be done, at least 2 hours, if not more. So it's good knowing that your buddies are also working, you know. Hey, buddy.
Hey, buddy.
All right, guys. I think this concludes another public business journal entry. Another day, not just of my life, but our lives. Building Notus together, living the content life, figuring things out as we go. Last night, him and I actually, right before bed, had a little fight. A little WhatsApp back and forth. So that's healthy altercation. Friction creates diamonds. But then we resolved it immediately and it was good. But we're not even going to go more into that. I think I just said this to make sure that we don't only share the highlight reel of what's happening, and that building and running a business with people that become your best friends, as this guy or this guy behind the camera, it's not easy and it requires a lot of work, a lot of alignment. And so far we've been managing that quite well. I'm quite proud of our run so far, when it just creates even more, not pressure, but responsibility to maintain that momentum. Because if we can see this out for a couple of more years or decades or for life, magic. But yes, Max.
Yeah, I think it's inevitable that there's going to be friction, misunderstanding, and different opinions and different viewpoints. I think the success is just the result of us being able to productively come to a result or come to consensus on our disagreements. And I think small little altercations, if they're handled well, are actually productive. That's at least what we've seen so far. Whenever we've had disagreements, we were able to come to a result or come to a conclusion fairly quickly. And I think that's what will keep us alive, because I think that's one of many ways that a young company can die or stop existing, is if the people running it are chronically misaligned and going into different directions.
That's one of the reasons why I've pushed this core value, or whatever you want to name it, of always addressing the elephant in the room. I've been pushing this quite aggressively across the company since day one, especially because we are remote. I've noticed that there's a pattern in people where, depending on your upbringing, your trauma, your character traits, some naturally tend to seek confrontation and to seek conversation and to address what is wrong. And then for others, it's the exact opposite. They eat up their frustration, they build up perhaps resentment, and they avoid conflict and confrontation, and they start building a new reality that is not aligned with the reality of their business partners or of their team, without even talking to them. And then 3 months in, they leave, they quit, whatever, and you're like, where did that come from? While, they've been brewing and building on that for maybe weeks or months on end. In our company, we really try to enforce radical transparency and always addressing the elephant in the room, even if you don't feel like it, which is also why yesterday I knew that, it was not a big fight. It was just a misunderstanding. And I knew where Max was coming from, even though I heavily disagreed. And I didn't feel like talking to him in that moment. I was like, I'm going to finish my task first. But I think you called me 3 times just so we could actually resolve it then and there. And then we did, and that's a pattern across the company. It's also the same in romantic relationships, honestly, that I'm learning from having a girlfriend for almost 4 years now. And I'm a big fan of finding solutions, especially because I naturally tend to be quite harmonic, or seeking harmony, and maybe by nature trying to please people and avoid confrontation. So it's also something that I am working on, of giving direct feedback, and also, not only talking about things when it's going well, right? And so I think that's been a very conscious effort since day one, and something that is keeping us aligned, even though we are remote and growing fast and have uncertainty and all these things. And it's how we naturally filter through people, and people come, people go, as we discussed before. But I'm very proud of who is working on this right now, and we'll see how it goes from here. And with that, I'm going to take a little break and then knock out more work, have dinner with the boys, and I think Eva, are you leaving? This is our CFO, Eva, by the way. Have you already said hi to the vlog today?
No, I haven't. I just came back from the gym.
She just came back from the gym. I wish I could say the same. You never cease to inspire me. Well done, Mom. Eva Basler, absolute legend. Shout out. I canceled the rest of the meetings for the... Hey, be nice, bro. I feel like you're being a little disrespectful right now. The more responsibility this guy gets, the more disrespectful he gets as well. Yesterday he said, I'm a little bit like Steve Jobs, and I was like, oh.
No, I don't know.
I have a little Steve Jobs in me.
It's the exact thing that you said.
Anyway. Oh shit, sorry. We gotta do this outro. I'm sorry. Better?
Yeah.
All right, looking ahead, beginning of December, we got an epic weekend coming up in Andermatt. Then we have the company offsite, and then Christmas is coming soon. So it's about closing loops, creating space to think, to reflect, to strategize. And then we're going to tackle Q1 in Lisbon, in the Notus Villa. I think it's going to be great, and it's going to mark a new chapter of the brand and the company. You're going to meet more people, and we're just going to level up personally, and that will then reflect on leveling up in the business too. So I'm excited. I'm grateful for the opportunity. Life is fragile. It could all be gone tomorrow. So we're going to take it day by day. I'm rooting for you. I appreciate you, and we'll see you in the next one.